All right, everyone. Just one more thing to show. Bring up on the screen. There it is. All right, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to Family Finance Friday with DJ the Money Coach and Nick Westbrooks. This show is brought to you by the DJ the Money Coach team and the 7 Spheres of Money Systems. And before we go to tonight's beach and tell you about what you're seeing on the screen here, hit the like button, share this video with at least 5 people, and subscribe to DJ the Money Coach on YouTube if you're not already subscribed, so you can help us spread the message and the good news about the pom-pom lifestyle movement, which cannot be stopped. And the pom-pom lifestyle is plenty of money and peace of mind, and we invite you to come join us on the beaches of the world. And tonight's beach is the power of networking at the African Diaspora Conference. So I'll pull this down for a second so you can bring us up on the big screen. What's going on, DJ? Happy Friday to you.
Man, everything's great, Nick. You know, like we always say, any day above ground with your health is an amazing day. And today is no exception to the rule. This is actually an even better day because the week has been phenomenal. And we're excited because we're teaching everybody about Family Finance Friday and the importance of networking and the importance of working inside of the diaspora, because the diaspora covers the whole entire, globe. And most importantly, we have to learn how to work together with one another. And this is just a manifestation of the fruit on the tree. So we are actually this week have participated in the Diaspora African Conference 2025. That was me with the founder, Eze, who has put on an amazing event down at the Ion. And it was Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Actually, they're right now at their gala. Unfortunately, because we do our show and we have to, make our show rock, that I'm not going to be able to make it. But man, it's just been spectacular. So it was a brainchild. Actually had the pleasure of doing his first inaugural event in 2023 down at the Ion. Was fortunate to be blessed to be on the panel and talk about the things that we're doing on the continent, specifically in Zanzibar. And so tonight is about how we are all family. At the end of the day, we all have African, ancestry, regardless if you know it or not. And if you don't know it, then maybe you ought to get a DNA test done, because all creation of humanity comes from the crater of Africa. And this conference has gotten better every year. And this is their 4th conference. They actually have held their conference in our beautiful island and Zanzibar, and they've held their conference in Ghana as well. And it's just expanding. So the thing that I've learned over the course of 2.5 days is the power of knowing how to network, but most importantly, Nick, build relationships. Most importantly, investing and putting those seeds in the ground and watering those seeds so that they can manifest, for everybody to win. And most importantly, building relationships for what you can help them out with, not what is in it for you. Because if you're coming to the table with your hand out all the time and you don't bring something to the table, then you're not going to be invited back to the table. And I think a lot of times people don't understand the reality of that. And in our world, in our sphere, it's really 1 degree of separation. You never know who knows whom. Okay. And I'll give you an example of that, ladies and gentlemen. So last week we talked about the power of the 4x4, right? How consistency, accountability, discipline, work, professionalism, how important that is for success. That has nothing to do with your talent, has nothing to do with your intelligence. The people who win long-term are the people who are persistent, who are consistent and continue to work. But also the people who win long-term in tough times are people who build valuable relationships that's based off of sincere principles, that you want to be a servanthood leader. And that's what Eze is. He has exemplified the manifestation of being a great servanthood leader, because this time in his fourth iteration of this amazing Diaspora African Conference, he had a boatload of sponsors. He had a boatload of dignitaries. And he had people who were at the initial event come back and were bigger and better. And the great thing about it is that he had people who were in the audience became moderators. And he had the ability to add in more of the dynamic of the STEM, the science, the technology, the engineering, and the math. So he made it a very focal point. And if you can do us, a favor and just pull up their schedule of events that we had the chance to participate in, and it was spectacular. And one thing about it is that the whole overlining message was Africa is the final frontier. And all of the misinformation that you're getting about Africa is purposeful, intentively, because they don't want you coming back to the Mecca. And you have to ask yourself a question. Why is it there's huge, networks of Europeans, Middle Easterners, UAE, people coming over there in droves, and they're not just coming over there, ladies and gentlemen, to vacation. They're coming over there to acquire resources, the natural resources that are in the ground that are generating most of the technologies in the world. They come out of Africa. And the one thing is we're behind them because we have gotten the misinformation purposely and the propaganda to tell us don't come there. Or we're so uneducated that the first thing we talk about, man, it's such a long flight. Okay, well, think about this. In the terms of finances, in the diaspora, Nick, in 2023 and 2024, the diaspora spent $129 billion on travel. Conversely, ladies and gentlemen, we own less than 2% of the equity and the ownership in that $129 billion that we generated. So it's almost like a running joke, inside joke with the people when they talk about, oh, we have $2 trillion worth of buying power. We're the third largest economic, platform in the whole world. But the reality is they don't tell you that we're just pure consumers. What's up to BX in the house? Appreciate you, brother. So, and they say that, and for some reason you think that empowers you, but that doesn't empower you. Now, if they said we own $200 trillion worth of assets and we're generating, $129 billion in reoccurring dividends for the diaspora every year, then I can get excited about that. Do y'all hear me, ladies and gentlemen? I can get excited about that. So the purpose of this Diaspora African Conference is to raise the consciousness about equity and ownership. And the important part about it is being available to build those relationships and having the ability to understand the power of cooperative economics, understand the skills to be a professional networker that can add value to someone else. And then how do we tie that all together and interdependently work together and create equity and ownership in everything that we create and form our own IPs around everything that comes out of our mind, instead of I put something together, I get excited, and then you get that knock on the door, and it's your Caucasian father saying, hey, Nick, you got a great idea. How about I give you, and they're gonna entice you because you're not accustomed to having this kind of money and you're not wealthy. So they're gonna say, hey man, your podcast, I see it's really booming right now, and you probably want to go next level. So how about I give you $3-5 million and I take over all the responsibilities of the back office, the logistics, and you turn over, majority of your IP to me. Now, I know what you all are saying right now. I would never do that. But here's the irony of it. We're doing it every day. Every day. And here's the funny part about it. You know why we're doing that, Nick? And I had 4 great business conversations today based off of networking, ladies and gentlemen. So what we talked about last week, how we've been planting seeds for the last 3-4 weeks on the platform of IG and other social platforms that we're not hardly ever on, but we have a purpose now to penetrate those platforms to grow organically, to create equity and ownership in a win-win relationship through the power of networking and hard, consistent work. So as shared with everybody last week, as it pertains to small business, my endeavor is consistently doing 50 direct messages on IG and the social platforms every day, and doing 50 consecutive emails every day to brand new people that may fit the construct of the diaspora segment that we're specifically working in. Okay. So, and I'll just show you how this lines up. So if we hadn't done 3-4 weeks of hammering out 250 brand new direct messages, 250 brand new emails, and you're probably saying that's not a lot. You're right. But you know what a lot is? Consistently every day, we're doing 50-50 every day. So versus me going out and sending out 250 on a Friday, and then I get lazy because I had maybe 10-12 meetings come from it, so I'm excited. But the reality is that's all activity. That's no productivity. But if I consistently hammer 50 on emails, 50 on IG, 50 on the other social platforms, and I do it every day, I'm going to start planting some amazing seeds. And as a leader, from a financial standpoint, I will expect not to be surprised that all of a sudden we get a contact of what we would call in the financial world, in the stock world, they always use a term called a whale, a blue whale. And that's someone who has massive resources, massive capital, and can literally change the economic landscape 100x for your business or your family if you just had a chance to meet them and have something that would be intriguing of interest to capture their attention, right? So if you are successful in networking and continuously putting that day in, day out work, you will eventually find a well. And we mean that in the most gracious and the most honorable vernacular. And some people who are considered whales, they don't like to be considered whales. But I would love to be considered a whale, that I could actually have the influence to actually sincerely help somebody and change the financial landscape for them for generations to come. So you're probably saying, okay, so how's this all connect, DJ? Well, again, this is Family Finance Friday. Okay. So when you look at the components of the work, you look at the components of the ability to network professionally. So Nick, we're going to teach them how to network professionally, succinctly, and within 5 to 10 minutes, the person you're engaging with, the potential whale, will automatically ingratiate you because they'll feel like they've known you for years. Okay? So this is the secret sauce. And I'm going to borrow a phrase from some guys that I never knew anything about, but I just stumbled upon them like about 2-3 days ago. $1 million worth of game. That's a platform. I'm sure everybody know who they are. I just found out about them because I'm not on those platforms. But here's $1 million worth of game as it pertains to networking. And this is how, over the past almost 2.5 decades, Nick, I've been able to take a concept that was ahead of its time because I'm a student of business and God's blessed me with instincts to see the future, but not be able to pull it all into, clear vision until I'm able to connect the dots. But the reality is, a lot of times, ladies and gentlemen, I've had ideas pop in my head from the man above and said, hey, go build a commercial high-end luxury cleaning business. Never had any idea about that, Nick. But all of a sudden I had this idea pop in my head. And then it said, this market is wide open in the South Loop of Chicago because it's going through gentrification, and they're going to increase the property taxes, and they're going to eliminate the folks that originally lived there, and they're basically going to render them obsolete and exterminate them. Okay. So what I saw, I said, okay, well, if that's the case, this type of demographic is going to come down while it still looks ugly. And if I can get out and provide dinks, dual income, no kid, urban and corporate professionals to do cleaning for them that they don't want to do because they got discretionary income, I might be able to build a successful commercial and residential cleaning business. Had no expertise in that area, had done cleaning before, did some janitorial work, doing college, doing high school, just to have extra money to put in my pocket, but not to do it on a large landscape. So God dropped the idea in my head, ladies and gentlemen, and he said, hey, White Glove Immaculate Services can service this whole Southern Loop. And if you have the ability to go out and grind and interact with the proper people and plant the proper seeds, I'm going to show you a blessing, but you got to have faith. But faith without works is dead, ladies and gentlemen. So if you take the two words, that's a compound word, if I'm not mistaken, right? So help me out here, Nick. Don't let me net and work, right? Is that right? Is that a compound word? Because I English wasn't my best subject, but I did learn how to speak okay. So correct me where I'm wrong. So net, what does net mean? Net means you can grasp people and pick them up. Like you will put a net, like you shoot the ball, it catches the ball, a portion of it. That's what the net. Or when you're fishing, you can put a net together and you can bring in a whole boatload of fish. Okay, so that's net. And then you take the word work. We all know what work means. Hey, God says, if you don't work, you will perish. So if you put the work together and you put the net in front and put it in the right frame and the right audience, your network will increase your net worth. Y'all got that? So this is how you take the network and put yourself in position to catapult your net worth by getting in the rooms with the right people, because you have planted the proper seeds a couple of years ago by being a guest speaker. So you give your gifts to help somebody else. Are y'all following me, ladies and gentlemen? So Eze, he had his inaugural event. We were the only ones that were in Zanzibar, and they were just talking about investing on the continent of Africa, and they never thought about Zanzibar, and we happened to be there. So he said, hey, would you do me a solid and come on my platform? Absolutely. So we do a solid back in 2023 of October. We speak on the platform. We get, rave reviews, make some good, contacts, and we just start building a relationship. We had no expectations. But now, those seeds that were planted, we come back this year, and now people have seen us, and they are already speaking on our behalf, Nick. Literally had two guys on the panel. Hey, man, you guys got to meet DJ the Money Coach, because he's got a very successful venture in Zanzibar. Now, this guy, man, check out how this works, Nick. One of the people that I went on IG just cold contact was a guy named Dre Taylor. Unbeknownst to me, Dre Taylor is from Kansas City, but he's actually built a same platform in Ghana that we're building in Zanzibar. Now check this out, ladies and gentlemen, the power of work and networking. I did not know he was going to be a speaker at the Diaspora African Conference. And this is the great thing about it, to show you the proof in the pudding. I'm going to show you how God is good to you, because I was in communication with him and about to do a Zoom meeting with him about a week ago. I'm going to try to pull up that email that I got from him. Let me see here. Let me see. Let me see, or I can pull up the IG response. So stick with me, guys. So I'm pulling this stuff up. While I'm pulling this up, I actually see the name, and I couldn't meet with him. And I get down there, and man, God is so good. And I don't know what happened here, but I done lost you. Can you still see me and hear me, Nick?
Yeah, yep, I can still hear. Still see you.
Okay, I lost it. So I'm not. So check it out. So this is how great when you put the work in and you know how to network properly. I'm gonna find his IG channel, because we did email each other. Here we go. I found him. All right. So let me just let me pull up the information on him. Bear with me, guys. Got a little buffering going on my phone for some reason, which is unusual. Let's see here. So, long story short, Dre is one of the key speakers about Ghana for the Diaspora African Conference. So he just got in town, and he has a bunch of meetings, to do in town. One of his first interviews is with Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street came to our event at Rice University. Hey guys, you see how this is working? Rice University, we were the first organization that looked like us, even though I'm not into that, but first in of its ever in terms of true entrepreneurship, bringing to the B school at Rice University. Rice University is like the Harvard of the South. So in August or September of 2023, we put on the first entrepreneur study from a hip hop perspective at Rice University. And at Rice University, there was an organization called Black Wall Street, which has a massive following. And their founder name is Fred. So he came up to me, said he had been seeing our stuff and he wanted to interview me. So guess what? He interviewed me on his platform. We were well received, right? So since Dre Taylor is very successful in Ghana, Black Wall Street knows about him, right? So they know about him. And since they're based in Houston, guess what they immediately told him he should look up? I give you 3 guesses, and the first 2 don't count.
Should look up. Yeah, he should look up DJ the Money Coach and Escape to Zanzibar.
Exactly. So he was like, wait a minute. He's like, I know that name. He said, man, that guy and I were communicating over IG just a week ago, and we were supposed to talk. So I walk into the conference. He's on the platform, and he immediately from the platform said, hey, ladies and gentlemen, he talked about what he was doing. He's building condominiums, townhouses, and resorts in Ghana, and he's been doing his since 2019. So he's been doing it a couple of years before we have. And he talked about, it was so eerie on the positive side, Nick. He said, hey, I went over to Ghana for the first time in 2019 or 2018 just to take a vacation and then decided not to come back.
Wow.
And guess what, folks? The reason why Nick is laughing, because I was going to Zanzibar just for a vacation. Not thinking nothing about investing on the continent of Africa. I'm just going to be honest with you. But because God had a better plan, just like Dre Taylor, I end up becoming a developer. So he and I are talking, and he tells everybody, he's answering all the questions, talking about the challenges that are opportunities in disguise and how important it is to be a long-term thinker in Africa. 10, 15 years, because he said that's what they're doing. He said, so if you're thinking about, hey, man, I'm going to put my money in and I'm going to get it out in 2 months, 2 years, 5. He said, you're not the person for Africa right now. Nothing wrong with that. He said, but it's got to be more of us. He said, matter of fact, my man DJ, the Money Coach, in the audience, He's doing the exact same thing in Zanzibar, and you guys ought to get in touch with him and work with him. Ladies and gentlemen, never had spoken to the brother yet. We had a brief introduction like, oh, yeah. And when he get off the stage, then we start chopping it up. And he was like, yeah, man, I reached out to you. We couldn't get our, schedules lined up, and I want to work with you, right? So now we found the ability because Black Wall Street told him about me. I found out about him. He can give me some education on developing because he's going through it sooner than we have. And he's gone through all the ins and outs. So now he's on the platform about real estate. And then they have another gentleman that was at the first conference named Vic. And he remembers sitting next to me at the first conference. And he was like, oh, man, we didn't really connect the last time, and we had exchanged information, but I never heard from you and you never heard from me. Let's reconnect because I have a real estate broker business. And I'm not only brokering deals here in America, but I'm African and I'm brokering deals in Africa. Are y'all seeing how you can line those up, right? So now he speaks highly. Now we have another gentleman on the platform. His name is Ed. He runs an organization called Red Swan. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Red Swan, they actually create funds like a private real estate trust that you can invest in Africa in projects and get fractional shares. Now, Ed doesn't know me at this point, but Ed is saying to Dre, and he's saying to Vic, hey, here's the power of networking right on this panel. We should be doing business together because I can help your project. And here's another key part about it. Here's where the authenticity comes in the networking, ladies and gentlemen. God will always bless you if you are 100% into what you're doing. And the one thing Dre said that resonates with me is that he had poured all his own resources in building the stuff he built in Ghana. Does that sound familiar? We'll put all our resources into what we are building in Zanzibar. And what I always tell people, ladies and gentlemen, if you truly want to succeed in something, if you ever had bacon and eggs for breakfast, are you the chicken or are you the turkey? Because I only eat turkey bacon. Or are you the pig because you consume pork bacon? And if you really understand that, guess what? Who's all in? The turkey and the pig because they gave their life for that bacon. And the chicken is really finicky and they just dropped an egg and keep it moving if it don't work. But 9 out of 10 times, ladies and gentlemen, for the most successful and sustainable businesses, you have to be the turkey and the pig and the bacon and eggs. Because if you're not going to get the opportunity on a sliver to meet a Dre Taylor, to meet a Ed, to meet another awesome gentleman who actually is a help financier for Dre Taylor named Claude. And so now I do the power of the formula of networking. So Nick, put up on the screen, here's how you in 5 minutes create lifetime relationships with people like they've known you forever. It's called FORM. Family, occupation, recreation, message. So instead of you going out and chucking people with a spear, S-P-E-A-R, and they know you just trying to chuck them just to get their information. And it never fails to dawn on me when you go in these rooms and these people who claim to be professionals, but you know they're just coming up to get your information and they really don't want to get to know you. You can feel the inauthentic phoniness about them. Okay? And there were several there, and they're at every event, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to real networking. And some people, and guess what? I used to be that way as well. So I'm not knocking them, but at a certain point in time, you have to be a giver and not a taker. Okay. So as I entered into the event, I sincerely was trying to find people that I could actually add value to. And so how do you add value? You first ask them about the things that are important to them. Hey, my name's DJ. What's your name? Because if you're at a conference, the conference is designed, ladies and gentlemen, for you to connect with people. So people should be like a dog wagging their tail. And if they're not, maybe you should just happily remind them with a nice big smile on your face. Hey, I'm DJ. I'm in the financial education business, and I like helping families become financially independent and debt-free. How about you? And how can I be of assistance to you? Boom. Normally they'll tell you their name, and then you just say, hey, how's your family doing? They don't expect you to say that. So they'll start engaging you about their family and stuff that's important to them. And next thing you know a lot about them. Then you ask them, hey, if you don't mind me asking, I'm in the financial education business, but I actually love developing, real estate projects to give back to the communities in Africa. What's your occupation or your vocation? And that person will begin to tell you about themselves, because guess what? Our best topic and subject is always ourselves. So now that person is going to tell you about their occupation. And then you say, hey, most professionals, most people have vocations. Very rarely do they actually get a chance to kick it back and relax and just enjoy life and smell the roses. What's your favorite recreation or hobby? And when you ask them these questions, you're taking mental notes. And you're jotting those notes down mentally, and you're finding out stuff that's really important to them. And then you say, hey, are you doing this stuff for philanthropy, or right now this is just you're trying to grow a business to create generational wealth? That's the message. Now that you've done all of that, now that person is engaged with you. And then what you do is say, hey, we're at this Diaspora African conference. Just in case I don't see you again, how about we just keep in touch? And if I have somebody that can help you out, I'll lead them your way. And matter of factly, sincerely, if you do know somebody that can help them, just an introduction, just a light introduction, let them know. And I did that a couple of times yesterday and the day before. So I met a guy named William. He's a brother who owns a black robotics business. He actually built the underwater robots, and he was telling me about the schools he was getting into. I said, hey, let me do you a solid. I can get you introduced to the science head department over at this school and that school, because my children go to that school. And there's definitely not enough representation of us to see somebody who's on the ownership side, just like we're on the ownership side. Unbeknownst to me, guess what, Nick? Will is great friends with Dre Taylor. Will's great friends with Claude. So he actually introduced me to Claude. Claude reimburses me to Dre Taylor. And now you see how quickly tight connectivity happens? And then we do the magic move. You know what the magic move is? Hey, so we don't forget each other. How about we do this? And Nick, show him. I pull out my phone. I say, hey, let's get a picture together, because this is a big conference. And if you're like me, I don't generally answer phone messages that I don't know. But if you attach a picture, you and me together having a good time with a big smile on our face, instantly, everything that we talked about for that moment of 5 minutes is going to come right back to your mind, and you're going to have nothing but happy thoughts about me. And then we make the magic move on top of that. So then, ladies and gentlemen, I reach out to him and I say, hey, Nick, remember you told me it was your grandmother's birthday. Remember you told me you were teaching your seniors this year, and you're happy that your class from 2020 is about to graduate, or 2021 about to graduate in 2025. I immediately indulge you with what's important to you. I don't talk to you about any business. I talk to you about how you doing, how's the family, significant things that are about to happen, and then immediately you feel like this about me. And then guess what naturally happens, ladies and gentlemen? If you network the right way professionally, your net worth increases because now that person, naturally, if they're a sincere, authentic person, they say, DJ, what have you been up to? How's your family? And is anything you're excited about that you want to share with me, or I might be able to help you out with? And then I say, here's what I'm excited about, and I thought you never asked. You see how that works, ladies and gentlemen? No chucking, no spearing, no high pressure, all conversational, but I still got to what I wanted to accomplish is to meet somebody significantly that had a sphere of influence and a network that I needed to have access to by being sincere and authentic with them. And so in the course of that 2 days, if you contact the person who has a vast network, you just accessed their network. But see, what the unprofessional or the unskilled person, they go and do a numbers thing when we're doing a quality thing. So make a long story short, ladies and gentlemen. So contacting through relationship, networking the proper way, through form, family, occupation, recreation, message. Now we instantaneously have an advocate who's willing to open up their sphere of influence to us, and immediately they endorse us by only knowing us for a mere 5 minutes. And you're saying that's not possible, DJ. Well, it is possible because guess what? Will introduced me to Claude. Claude introduced me to Dre. Claude got my information, went and told his partner about it. And guess what? We're meeting with them next week. I met with Ed by getting the endorsement from Will, and Ed and I are meeting next week. It's amazing how that works. Now, this type of quick work is all about skill, persistence, and professionalism and planting the proper seeds. Are you understanding what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? So you're watching this and you say, okay, give me some nuggets that I can go apply and elevate my game, or as like I say, $1 million worth of game. So I'm not going to take credit for that because that's not mine. That belongs to Wallow and the Gully Kid, something like that. So if I hacked up their name, I apologize. But our platform, from a professional standpoint, that's a vernacular for the urban vernacular, which works well. Ours is a professional network, and the principles are the same, ladies and gentlemen. Let me express that. But one thing that is very different, as I initially began, we don't give up equity and ownership on the front end. No matter how great the enticement is, you don't give up creative control for a couple of dollars because you're not willing to do the work or gather the resources to invest in yourself, but you let somebody else sponsor you, endorse you. In exchange, they take 50, 60, 40%, and you still think that you're free. But guess what? If your logo and their logo is side by side, they're still getting the best of it because money ain't the key factor to wealth. It's the ecosystem that you build and the network that you have garnered. And here's the irony of it. And I hate to say this, but these are facts. You will never be on the opposite end of that. What do I mean? You got a bunch of bread and they come to you and you offer the bread and they'll be like, nah, man, I'm not giving you 20, 30% of this. You can pay for all the production and the studios and everything, but you ain't getting 20, 30% of this. Even though you can X them 100X, but we do it because we've never seen $3, $4, $5, $10 million, and that's a whole bunch of money. But that person's coming from access to 2, 3, 400 million. And I'm not saying it's 100% like that, but 95% of the time, that's the scenario. And now that person has gotten inside your network, and you know what their job is to do? Is to emaciate and consume the entire host. Okay? Now, if I said that word wrong, what I basically mean, the parasite They get 1% penetration, but their goal is to metastasize, if I say that correctly, the entire host, become the host, the body snatchers. So when you're talking about the power of networking, it's important to see how that works. So Nick, let's show them a couple of illustrations of how we went about conversationally giving up first to get the relationship that now the people yesterday and even today, hey man, I want to see you, can't wait to see you here and there. And here's the great thing about it. So the first event that we went to was at this beautiful restaurant that had Western African meals that was phenomenal. And it was crowded in there. So, I got there a little late because I had work to do. So I get there a little late, and then you have a couple of seats that people got up from. So I just politely tapped the young lady on the shoulder and said, hey, is the seat taken? Oh yeah, that's my friend. So I said, I think it's been, I said, you mind if I just occupy this until your friend comes back? You said, do you mind if I just occupy this till your friend comes back? Now, I wasn't expecting to engage with him, but guess what? We closed out the whole restaurant. So it ended up being about 10 of us surrounding, taking pictures and everything, engaging. Turn out they're in real estate. One's an educator. One's connected to HBCUs. You see how good God is? And we then all start taking pictures together. And the next day, guess what? We come into the event. Hey, Brittany, how you doing? Hey, DJ, I was looking forward to seeing you today. Now, just 24 hours later, you didn't know me from a hole in the wall. You didn't know me from a bucket of paint. But today, I'm almost like one of your sincere friends, authentically. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? So I had a purpose and a plan when I went to organization. Yeah, here we are right here. So the one in the background is Brittany. The one next to me his name is Neckpen, and she was one of the speakers. And guess what? She was speaking about her new endeavors in Lagos. And then she asked me for some help because she had never spoken at one of these platforms, and she found out that I had spoke before, and I started giving her some things to give her confidence because she was a little bit nervous. And then she introduced me to the other people in the picture. And at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, I am easily conversationally forming every person. And here's the reason why. Because I came into the conference with a purpose to network with 5 significant players per day. Did you hear me, ladies and gentlemen? I didn't say, let me go knock down and capture 50, 60, 70 contacts. Nope. I said, I want to meet 5 significant players who I know have huge networks that are connected to other huge networks. And I want to sincerely befriend them if we have some authentic synergy. So I'm now move away. I'm at the table. They're talking. And then all of a sudden, some other people come in. Then they ask me to get in the picture with them. You see how that works, ladies and gentlemen? So on Thursday, we're seeing old good best friends. And then guess what? Every one of them. And it's the power of networking right. Power of networking right. Let me show you how you can increase your net worth by professionally networking the proper way. Okay? So right here, the young lady that was in the background, Brittany, she said, hey, DJ, great seeing you as well today. I really enjoyed our conversation on Thursday. Can't wait to visit Zanzibar. Proof is in the pudding. So now that young lady, she has a real estate broker business with 8 agents. And they have an investment club. All solid Black women professionals. She goes and I hit her up with a quick little, hey, thanks for taking a picture with me. It was great meeting you, Brittany. Here's a little snippet of what we're about. If you ever want to, come check us out, we'll take care of you. So each one of those plans that I had, I ended up meeting 6 significant players on Wednesday, and I ended up meeting 8 significant players on Thursday. And if you look at it collectively from a multiplication standpoint, ladies and gentlemen, in our math, we say 1 + 1 = 11 because it's exponential growth. So now I have 14 people who at least have spheres of networks of thousands of people. So we can potentially almost tap into 140,000 people just like that. Just like that. What is the value of that to you? Well, let me break down the economics for you. So we are putting together a pilot for people to come and visit our establishment. And our pilot is real simple. Let's get a group like Dre, like Ed, like Will, like Claude, like Brittany, like Neckpen, like Stephanie, like Orlando, and say, hey, how about you come out and this normal trip that we have, which is 7 days and 6 nights, is $3,500. Oh man, okay, that ain't bad. That's a good price. But how about we have you come take a visit with us and we give you the individual at our cost? Wow. Okay. So what would that look like? Maybe like $999 or maybe, 3 payments of $699. These are upscale professionals. Another key tip. When you are networking to net worth, you only go after a group that can change the landscape for you as well as you can change the landscape for them. What I mean by that, it would be no value for me to go speak with nobody. Everybody's equal in God's eyes and everybody's equal in my eyes. But here's the reality of business, ladies and gentlemen. If I go talk to somebody who is struggling to make ends meet, there's nothing really I can do for them other than maybe give them some charity. And there's really nothing they can do for me in terms of moving the business needle forward in our business, because if their network is of struggling people financially, can they afford to come to Zanzibar? No. Now, they may afford to be able to take our B2B course, Back to the Basics, which would be more happy to provide to them. But this conference, I was not going there to teach financial education, ladies and gentlemen. I was going there to expand our network for the diaspora to penetrate more business for Zanzibar. So I had an intentional plan and I had an economic model organizations that I wanted to connect to make it worth my time and my effort and to make it worth their time and their effort. And still be conversational about it, not trying to spear tuck them, but build sincere, authentic relationships. And that's the most important part. And also, here's another key part to it too, ladies and gentlemen. I always want to engage with people that I would actually like to have a beer with. That's my litmus test. And I'll tell you, there were a couple of people at the event I was not attracted to. I would not want to have a beer with them. And they had a lot of money. And one of them I had seen at an event that I was at before, and they spoke to me, but I said hello and everything, but I had no desire to connect with them. Do you understand what I'm saying? Not all connects are good connects, like all money ain't good money. But these people that I'm showing you now, forget about the opportunity. They were great people to hang out with. And I would enjoy having a beer with them, or having a glass of wine or lemonade, because we had a lot of stuff that we liked and enjoyed about life, and it was just a good time. And most of the time, what you're going to find out from the relational standpoint, which I had to learn, people do business with people they like. People refer people to people they like, or they get a good positive feeling about. So on the Family Finance platform, again, just to show you how this works so well, I'm going to show you another one. So I had the privilege and the honor through the hard work of reaching out, and I sent a little, introduction of myself, cold introduction to a cold market, but a targeted market. So today, fruit manifests on that tree as well. So we reached out to one of the sharp financial journalists in the world who happen to look like us. Name is Stacy. Her name is Stacy. So I reach out and they were like, hey, I don't know, but this looks intriguing. Is it legitimate? Her executive assistant. Because people at that level, they don't generally answer their own mail and stuff. And why should they, right? So they hit back and say, hey, you know what? Can you tell me a little bit more details of what this is really about? Saw the video, beautiful property. So then I get down below the water, the surface, and say, hey, here's what we're looking to do. I want to have an exploratory call with you. What does the word exploratory mean? No risk. Shot in the dark. All about the power of language, ladies and gentlemen. You have to know how to communicate as a master communicator. I said, how about we have an exploratory conversation? Here's the conversation, and here's some other details that you can check me out. So guess what I did, ladies and gentlemen? I gave them my standard website so they can immediately go check me out. My LinkedIn. I'm a professional. Oh, okay. LinkedIn got great reviews. Website's got corporate 500 companies on there that they've done business with. Okay, I'll do an exploratory conversation with you. Are you starting to see the net? What is the net doing now, Riley? The net is going out and grabbing the potential blue whale, right? So now I say, hey, how about we do a Zoom call? See, most business people use the professional medium of Zoom. Some people would say, hey, let's WhatsApp. No, I don't want to WhatsApp with you. I want to keep this corporate. Let's set up a Zoom call on your professional calendar. Let our executives set up the call. Now, see how I'm engaging them with the protocol, Nick? I'm talking as a businessman, which I am, not an IGer. No, I'm not going to engage with you 4 or 5 times DMing you on IG. I'm DMing you on IG because I can't find your email. Here's another tip about the power of networking on a cold platform. I find their email address because guess what? If they're engaging in professional business, what type of communication does Fortune 100 companies use? Do they WhatsApp people? Do they IG them? Or do they send them a professional email?
Yep, email. Professional email.
Professional email. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen? In the power of networking, you want to cast the proper net and do the proper work, the professionalism. So let's pull up the 4 P's for him, Nick, because this is important to understand the value of the professionalism that I'm displaying. And a lot of you say, oh, you just got lucky. No, this is a skill set. I've taken a talent that God gave me, and I put in 10,000 hours to master a skill. Whereas I can go into a cold environment and DM somebody with the proper language and the proper protocol to get them on a serious business Zoom call. How do we know this is true? Because this week, from Monday to Friday, I think I had like 15 meetings with people never met, never knew in my life. And you know what the number one thing they said to me, Nick, when they first got on the horn? How did you hear about me and what made you engage with me? So the first thing I tell them is because I have a plan of action for my net. It's important you put the right type of bait inside your net, ladies and gentlemen, on your hook. I said, well, here's the thing. Real quickly, let me give you a 30-second overview of who I am. I tell them about my financial background. Then I tell them how I got to Zanzibar. Then I say, here's what we're looking to do over the next 12 months. We're doing a pilot to engage in 4 industries: finance, education, travel, and small business. And all I did, Nick, or as I talked to Stacy, I said, Stacy, all I did, I put in finance in the IG and yours came up. And then I remember I've seen you on television before. So I said, now let me reach out to you and show you some similarities that we both share. And maybe if you are like-minded like me, you would think, okay, this is an opportunity to have a conversation. I said, that's simply how it went. At that point, she's telling me all of her great accomplishments would far exceed mine 10x. However, when I showed her more about what we were doing, she then said, wow, this is a blessing. Are you hearing me, BX? This is a blessing, DJ, that you reached out to me. And she said, what is your long-term objective on doing something collaborative? I said, well, you know what? There's so much synergy here. Not only would I like for you to do a finance conference, pilot with us. How about we do something on the educational side? And then she started showing me about the platform she was doing. And she said, hey, I would like to have you talk to my organization about what you do on the employment benefit side. I did not reach out to her to have a conversation about that. I was only focused on the Zanzibar opportunity from her skill sets. And now we had more than one thing in common that can lead to other potential wins for the number one person you ought to be concerned about when you're watching this is their customer, their client, their member, their subscriber. So when you're speaking to them, speak to them in regards to how you can elevate value to their end user. That's the first win, okay? So as I demonstrate the level of high professionalism in a short period of time because I have a skill that I mastered to become an expert, I took care of that. Now I'm going to show them how I can elevate the value for their end user. That's the first win. The second win is since their client, member, subscriber is elevated, they now do what? They purchase more of their products or their service or they get their retreat. Are y'all following me what I'm talking about here? Have I asked for anything yet, ladies and gentlemen? Zero. And I generally end the conversation there. But then you know what happens? If you set it properly with authenticity to create a win-win-win, they now turn around and say, well, how can we truly help you with your program? And then I say, hey, I thought you would never ask, but here's how it can benefit all of us. Let me give you a backdrop, handle all the logistics, and you just bring your brand to our exotic destination and have the best time that your end user would now want to come back every year. And then you and I together share with them the real Trojan horse, which is get on the business side and have yourself an opportunity to either buy real estate or to start a business through our assembly line. And that all resonates because guess what? This is an exploratory call. Did they lose anything of the investment of about 30 minutes of their life? But they found out about something that they never knew about that's actually cutting edge, that everybody's trying to get out in front. And then when we're able to show them, Nick, and I said, hey, I said, Stacey, I said, you and I have a lot in common. You're a visionary and a pioneer just like me. We found this destination in Zanzibar before anybody else. And now people coming and we're able to show them documented information. That's called professionalism, ladies and gentlemen. We're able to show them news articles written about us. We're able to show them news articles about the NBA coming in 2 years after us. Idris Elba coming in 2.5 years after us. And we're able to show them we're still there with a corporation. Now you see the power of specific networking. So, Riley, BX, if you in your respective industry and you're trying to get that well, number one, do the research on the people that's going to be at the conference, the speakers, the people who put it together. Find out how you can help them first. And then find out if you can help their end user, how they will now want to help you. Does that make sense? Because here's the thing. If you want to get somebody to engage with you, you have to engage them with friendliness first. Even the most, strict, stiff person, if you go up to them with a smile and a handshake, it's unnatural for them not to reciprocate that to you. And if they are so tight, sometimes you got to step outside of your comfort zone. If you really want to know them, hey, Hey, man, loosen up. We're here to have a good time while we learn with a smile on your face. And if that doesn't work, guess what? You go down the road to the next. But I can guarantee you this. That person will remember you because 9 out of 10 times that person got the mug face on and they're preventing people to want to come step up to them. But the fact that you stepped out and engaged them, they're going to have some warmness about it. And you will be surprised if they come back to you and say, hey, man, I probably just was thinking or was having the back, but hey, I want to get to know you. It happens to me all the time, ladies and gentlemen. All the time. I kid you not. So the first thing is, in professionalism, I have a plan that I put together. I know I'm going there for a conference and I'm going there to cast my net with the right, sincere, information to help them. And I'm willing to do the work without expecting an immediate return so that we can have the opportunity for an exploratory conversation that can then lead to a real serious conversation. You understand where I'm coming from, ladies and gentlemen? So if that resonates with you right now, you're watching this live, put a thumbs up, in the comment section, because this is the way you can actually make a 10x move in a short period of time if you are willing to put the work in. And see, that's the thing. Most of us want to get lucky, but luck that really is luck comes from professionalism, persistently pursuing your plan, perseverance, and performance. And let me tell you this. Although I had a great Wednesday and a great Thursday, guess what? I had some unexpected blows to the gut on Thursday. I had a follow-up scheduled with a huge significant player. They never showed up to the meeting. And this was supposed to be a serious meeting about major details. Never showed up to the meeting. Now, guess what? I could have taken that personal, got a bad attitude, don't even go to the event, or better yet, go to the event, and I got a bad attitude. You know what I did? I just like to duck, let it roll off the back, and kept rolling. And that's not easy to do, ladies and gentlemen. Then I open up the mail and I get some information I'm not interested in hearing about. Increasing real estate taxes. I'm not happy to hear about that. But these things are going to happen to you, and you got to keep moving forward, because it's not your talent, it's not your intelligence that gives you sustainable success. It's the consistent work and you not quitting and finding the right opportunity that is cutting edge, game changer that everybody's going to, and then having the capacity, ladies and gentlemen, to articulate that message concisely with excitement and passion and a plan. So when I incorporate that all into my networking, it yields great results. Now, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Even if none of those materialize into anything concrete in the actual asset column, one thing I have reassured is that I increase my confidence. I understand that I know what I'm doing. And here's the most important part. And this is the one that a lot of us miss when we have a rote education. No knock to Nick, but Nick knows what I'm talking about. When you go to school in a public and a private educational institution, they expect you to get 100 on all your exams. And if you don't get 100, it's like you're downgrading yourself. But in business, which real entrepreneurs know, if I have the Diaspora African Conference and there's 500 people there, and one of them can invest $1 million right now and change what I'm doing in Zanzibar, I don't concern myself about getting an F, meaning I contacted 499 of them and they all said no, my smile didn't work, nothing worked. But I quit, and number 500 was sitting up on that stage waiting for somebody like me to talk to him, but I quit because the education system told me you already have failed, But the business system tells you when you get to number 500, you get 100% success. Are you listening to me? And this is very important because that's the reason why most of us fail. And the other reason why we fail is we're not in the right conferences with the right demographics or qualified person to authentically engage with. We're wasting our time with people who don't make us nervous or give us sweaty palms. And if you don't know what I mean by that, that means that's a person you think that they're better, bigger than you, so you have a fear of even speaking to them. But here's the reality. They all put their pants on the same way. God's no respecter of person or gender. You just got to put the work in. Remember, faith without works is nil. So on today's episode of Family Finance Friday, the importance of networking, the importance of being in the right environment with the right conference can create a perfect storm. So don't be surprised if we come back here in 2-3 weeks and tell you we've inked a deal with A, B, C, or D. And if we don't come back and say we haven't inked the deal, guess what? We're still fishing. Does that make sense? And that's the way you catapult yourself from net work to higher net worth and doing the right things. Now, let me tell you the most powerful part about this. Okay, so I'm going to give you a sports analogy. So in golf, they say we drive, meaning we hit the ball as far as we can off the tee from the first tip of the first hole, because we want to drive it as far as we can, because that makes people go, oh, wow, man, he hit that ball 400 yards. 500, man, that's crazy. He's almost up on the cup. But you putt for dough. Everybody hear me? You drive for show. That's the sizzle. That's the commercial. But you get in the devil in the details of the putting. That's the hard part. So how do I drive for show, which is what I've been doing on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, meeting those people, taking pictures with them, sincerely engaged. How do I putt for dough? You know how you putt for dough? You get them locked into a commitment to meet you on their calendar. And you hit them back with a thank you. It was great meeting you. And you say something sincere that you learned about them through form that makes them feel great about themselves that have nothing to do with business. My father's father always told me, if I do a meeting or I meet somebody and I don't schedule a follow-up on my calendar and their calendars, you just had a meeting for nothing. Because anybody worth their salt and they really engage with you, they're going to put time on their calendar. And don't get discouraged if they say, oh, I'm so busy. Here's the way to overcome that as well. When you pull out your calendar, you say to them, hey, you know what, Riley? You know what, BX? What days on your calendar do you have free that I can align with your calendar? Do you see what I just did? I don't tell them, hey, I have Monday and Tuesday available on DJ's calendar. I say, hey, Brandon. Hey, Riley. Hey, Nick. When are you available on your busy calendar? Because what I found, the busiest people are the most productive, and they get more done in a day than people get done in months. And what we can do in 5 minutes, most people take 5 hours to do. So now I've taken away, oh man, I'm so busy I can't get with you. So they might say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to be available to March. Okay, hey man, you know what? My calendar's booked. I'm doing this conference. I'm doing that. You automatically come back with that. Yeah, you know what? I'm busy too. But hey, if you were thinking about March and we were able to get on your calendar, would you be looking at the end of March, the middle of March? Because you're now trying to, and remind them, hey, this is only a follow-up to the exploratory meeting to see if we really have an opportunity to do something together. And that meeting is going to tell us the ticket of the tape. And then you just reiterate back to them real quickly what it is you're going to do for them. And see, when you hit them with that, now a sense of urgency jumps out because they basically have so much excitement, they don't want to not get back together with you, tell their partner about you, or they have the FOMO, fear of missing out. And they'll say to themselves, I wasn't really doing much on this day and time anyway, and I can reschedule with him or her. This is the most important part of the networking. And if you let them off the hook, if you ever been fishing or ever tried to catch anything and you had them right there and you just wasn't willing to do that little extra work because it was so much pain, this is how you get rewarded. So you have to be good at the engagement, the form, the conversation, and the authenticity, but you have to be follow up and follow through and book a meeting from a meeting. And the way to book a meeting from a meeting is to tell them why they need to book that meeting with you. What's in it for them? With what's in it for me? Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? Because that's the only way you're going to be able to continue to move forward. And when they tell you about somebody who they're excited about that they do business, here's what you do too. Hey, Nick, you talked about, Tajir. Hey, man, can we get Tajir and you in on that meeting? And then again, meet them on one platform. They don't know you from a hole in the wall. Hey, let me give you my business cell phone number, direct contact. You see how this works? Because again, they don't know you. They have, but hey, man, I don't want to get this. But now I extend that to them. Here's my professional cell phone number in case we miss each other on email. Boom, boom, boom. I give them that number. Hey, text me. Boom. Naturally, they automatically text you without consciously even thinking about it. You see how that works? Now, if you take these all together and use them consistently, like we have for the past 3-4 weeks, you're going to yield some fruit on the tree. And let me wrap this up and show you how this works from a numerical standpoint, okay? Mind you, we're not trying to get 100% success. We don't even want 50% success. If we get 10% success with the right person, that's 100% success, okay? So when I'm looking in those 4 industries to introduce myself to people who can benefit from us and we can benefit from them, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show them how I can help them. I'm then going to show them how I can engage and increase their, economic scenario. And then I'm going to do what I call the rule of numbers. Okay, here's what I mean. So I'm looking for people who have platforms of 250,000 subscribers, or they're a very significant known person or expert in their field, and they may not have a big social presence, but I know they know players. Do you understand what I'm saying? So let's say, for instance, if there's 250,000 subs on their YouTube, IG, Twitch, whatever, I now use what I call the power of 10 in reverse. I divide that number by 10. So if they got 250,000, to me, I say they really only have 25,000 people that are really engaging with them on a regular basis. Okay? Now I divide it by 10 again. And I say now 2,500 of them are probably on their email list. This is where the money is, ladies and gentlemen. And then I divide it one more time by 10. So there's 4 powers of 10. 10 to the 4th power in reverse. Okay? And what that tells me, out of that 2,500, there's 250 of them that will buy anything that they share with them of value because they are truly in their tribe. Do you understand me? So when I'm talking to them, oh, you got 250,000, I automatically know your real impact to us is 250 people. So I immediately, in the conversation, I'm getting to, hey, what's your open rate? And if you don't mind me asking, because now we drill down for the serious meeting that we're about to take, and we're going to talk about the serious economical impact for them. If you have a list of 2,500 people, you probably have 250 that have bought, engaged, or told somebody about your service. And here's where the magic happens. 25 of them are buying right now. And so in that follow-up serious meeting, I say, here's how that 25 can pay you through our sphere of influence without you spending anything out of your pocket. Here's how it works. So let's pull up a calculator because I'm going to show you. So remember, we started out. This is Family Finance Friday. We're talking about the Diaspora African Conference, the importance of planning properly, engaging conversational and authenticity, getting to that initial meeting exploratory, be it a conference, be it live, be it on Instagram or whatever those platforms. And now we're talking about how to bring that bad boy from a concept to dollars. Okay, so 25 of them. So I tell them, I say, hey, here's what I can't do for you. Here's the power of professional networking and professional sales. I immediately take away from them what they want me to pay them on the front end because I got to test the waters because honestly, I'm not the Marriott. I'm not Chase. And I remind them that's why this opportunity is so unique in of itself is that it's for the perfect person at the perfect time. And you may not be that person. So number one, you know what, Nick? I can't cover your airfare. Why is that? Because my airfare is normally covered when I'm doing stuff for Bonvoy. Bonvoy is a multi-billion-dollar company. Them to drop $10,000, $20,000, that's like me trying to drop $1 million. But here's what I can do for you. I can take care of your accommodations at my cost. Why is that advantage point to you? Because if you were to have a conference, retreat, wellness, educational, you have to do what? You have to secure the location. Are you following me? The location is going to charge you X amount of dollars. For a location like ours, to secure it for 7 days and 6 nights to do a conference, we're talking $10,000. We're also talking a minimum amount of people to stay inside of our resort. They understand that. If they've done this before, they have to get deposits. They have to give guarantees. So now I'm speaking their language big time. And if they've never done that, I say, here's what you're going to find out when you're trying to secure a price and a location. You may be able to get some in-kind stuff, but them rooms got to be blocked. So now you've got 25 people. My package is normally $3,500. So let's put that number up there for him, Nick. So this is the reason how we get to the crux real simple. So it's $3,500 excluding airfare. So you take 35 times 25. 35 times 25, Nick. So we say, okay, that's an $87,500 opportunity. Now, here's what we know. That $250,000, you probably done events before. You probably done some type of online stuff and you've had 25 people show up and they probably didn't spend $3,500, but what if they would engage with you in your inaugural event for, let's just say, $999. Let's say $1,000. Okay. So let's remember that $87,500, but we're going to bring it down to $1,000. So that's $25,000, right? So you get them at $25,000. Yeah. Oh man, go to Zanzibar for $1,000? I'm probably going to spend $2,500 on a plane ticket. I might get lucky, get a plane ticket for $1,500. Now I give them a very business, unit with some very good incentives, and I give them the ability to upgrade themselves. So now I say it's probably, and guess what? I'll let them do it in 3 installments. So you see what I'm doing, ladies and gentlemen? I'm making it palatable to the influencer, the expert, to say, oh, that's a huge discount. I'm doing that right now. So now I say what generally happens, Nick or Will or Auntie Bev, most people, they start out at that $9.99 or they start out at that $19.99. And on average, those people are spending about $3,200 with us. And so how so? Because I'm going to give them a 1-bedroom unit with a garden view, not the beach view, on the first floor. Now, if they're going to go all the way to beautiful Zanzibar, and they're probably thinking, I'm probably not going to go here but once in my life, what do you think they're naturally going to want to do, Nick? You think they're going to want the garden view unit for the special, or they're going to want to upgrade themselves up to that suite or that 2-bedroom with the beachfront view, or that 1 unit with the beachfront view?
Oh, yeah, they're going to want the upgrade.
Exactly. So now I'm telling the person that, look, here's what generally happens. I pull up a special. I show them how they easily upgrade themselves. I say they engage with us at $9.99 or $19.99. We only give them 1 chef meal when they come. We only give them transportation to the airport. But now that person wants, 3 excursions. They want meals every day. And they know typically when they go on trips like this, the all-inclusives, they're spending $3,000 to $5,000. And if they're going to Zanzibar for the first time, spending $3,000 to $5,000 is no big deal because it's a trip for memories for a lifetime. So now, Nick, if you take the $87.5 off, I said, so here's how it works. Exactly. BX. And they typically are not traveling by themselves. Absolutely. 9.9 out of 10 times, they're bringing a friend, a significant other, etc. And guess what? We don't even talk about that, but we know that's the narrative. So now we say, here's what generally happens. They're going to get a beachfront view because they're going to see that beautiful Blue Lagoon, white sand beach. And they're going to say, hey, is a room available? Okay, that's an extra $100 a night. So let's just do the numbers, Nick. So let's put $9.99 up there. And let's show you how people easily upgrade themselves because they want to have the best experience. Okay, Nick, so you want to have the beach front view for that same room, a 1-bedroom? It's an extra $100 a night. You're going to be there for 6 nights. So that's plus $600 right there. Plus $600. They said, man, that's a lot. I said, well, you know what we do for them? We'll give them the package. It may be $600, but we'll give it to them for $400. So you're not $200 off of it, Nick. So minus $200. So they get the 6 nights for only $400. Again, an incentive. So now they say, hey, you're giving me that 1 personalized meal for that first day. What does it take for me to have 2 meals a day? And when we're out doing our stuff, we'll buy our own meal. Well, you know what? You can upgrade that too. That's only an additional $25 per meal per day. So it's $50 times 6. So now you add $300 to that, Nick. And they're doing the math. Oh, and they're still looking, man, that's only $1,699. Are y'all following me? Now they say, hey, can I have transportation everywhere I want to go outside of the one event that you guys do? Absolutely. You can get full transportation for the whole week, personal driver, for another $300. We're still only at $2,000 for a bucket list trip. Do you hear me what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? Now, you know the part that they really want? They want the experience. You told me, DJ, you told me, Stacy, Bev, BX, we're only getting 1 excursion, and that's a great deal for that $9.99. But is there a possibility we can get multiple excursions, 2 or 3, land excursion, historic excursion, water excursion, ATV excursion? Nick, am I talking to you, Nick? Is this the experience that you had?
Oh yeah, yep. You're talking to it. You know, the quad rides, the walking tours, the jet skis.
The tribe, you went and stayed with the tribe,
yep,
right?
Yep, the Maasai tribe. Yep.
You did Stonetown?
Stonetown. Mm-hmm, yep.
Did you do the Spice Farm?
No, we didn't do the Spice Farm, but
okay.
we did some others. Yeah.
So you did like 5, 6 excursions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
did y'all
yeah.
hear him, ladies and gentlemen? And that was your first time ever going, right?
That, yep.
And you
Yep,
wanted to take it all in, right?
I did.
And you brought money to pay for that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you hear me, ladies and gentlemen? So your average person, ladies and gentlemen, is going to spend between $500 to an extra $1,500 on this type of stuff. So now we give them one excursion. That person is normally going to pick up at least 3 more excursions. So now, Nick, we do the excursions at $120 a piece. Drop $360 on them. Mm-hmm. Boom. Now we're at $2,400. Now here's where the person that we want to collaborate with gets excited. We say, now take that, because this is real. And they can see the easy upgrade without them having to encourage them to upgrade. Times that times 30, because they're going to bring 25 to 30 people. So let's times that times 30. Now we got $70,000. And here's what we do. We say, hey, you know what? We're going to give you, because we don't need to make a lot of money on this deal. We want it to be a win-win for everybody. We're going to give you a 20% commission on the deal and take care of your accommodations outside of airfare. So hit them with 20% of 70,000. Boom. So now they just made themselves, ladies and gentlemen, $14,000, and they got themselves a $500 to $7,500 trip. And all they got to do is bring their network to our destination and let us handle all the logistics. Do you see how that works? And now we explain to them, hey, you don't want this to be a one-off. You want them to come to the event every year. Now let me framework it to you how it's actually going to play out for that whole entire 7-day, 6-night adventure. Now we show them our expertise. Now they get excited because they don't have to do any heavy lifting. Here's how it works. You're going to come in the first day. We're going to do the celebratory dinner for you. We're going to welcome them and everything. Isn't that what happened for you, Nick? Celebratory dinner, welcome you, right?
Yep.
Now we're going to let that next day you get rested and relaxed from the jet, experience of making that travel. The next day, later on that night, after you got a little bit of rest, we're just going to take you in a quick little loop around the type of things that we're going to do. So the third day, ladies and gentlemen, these people are doing events because they're doing a retreat, they're doing fitness, they're doing a financial education conference. We say now on the third and the fourth day, we're going to do whatever your main event is for your audience. So we're going to engage them from about 9 to 3 p.m. And after that, they can go do the other stuff that they want to do on their own anytime they want. So now after 3 and 4th day, the 5th day, we're going to engage into the major excursions. Are you following me, ladies and gentlemen? You see, I have a plan for them. I'm going to hit them with the land excursion. Then I'm going to hit them with the mercantile excursion. And then on Saturday, we're going to give them the full-fledged whiteout party Paradise Island excursion, which is going to take them over the top. And then on Sunday, they just going to relax, do whatever they want. They're going to have a great time. And then on Monday, they're going to be back on the plane, headed home. And guess what they're going to end up doing, ladies and gentlemen? They're going to already start rebooking for their next visit there. You see how that works? So what I'm saying to you, whatever your business is, when you do the networking the proper way, with a plan, the right demographics, the right event, and you did your research on the person that you need to engage with, your blue whale, you're going to have all this planned out from conception of meeting them to closing a deal with them. And you're going to follow up and follow through and tell them exactly what you told them, how you're going to do it, and how it's going to go about. And that's going to raise their level of confidence in you, their expectation, and most importantly, their excitement about making money with you, because you now have shown them another stream of income for their brand that they were either thinking about, they have already done, had headaches and the cost and everything, and now you've mitigated all of that, and gave them an opportunity to cut overhead and kick the tires. And now that pilot becomes a perennial event. And here's the beauty of it. The next year you come back, your numbers double. That's the beauty and the power of networking the professional way. And that's the reason why the Diaspora African Conference in its 4th iteration is so successful, because we did relationship networking. We plant the seeds, and we're not in a rush to spear chuck and get business right away, but we set the foundation properly and we let it matriculate it naturally and organically. So now we can expect to yield returns. And even if it doesn't turn out the way you expect, here's the underlining message for you to glean. Make sure you're in the right pond with the right tools and the right plan and the right work. And if you do it that way, you will eventually have somebody reach out to you. You will also glean serendipitous returns and do it with a happiness in your heart. I can't undervalue this part. Do the work with happiness in your heart so God can bless your work. If you're doing it with strife, anxiety, and why ain't it happening for me? God is just going to say, let's take one more trip around Mount Sinai. Instead of Moses and Aaron going into the promised land, Caleb and Joshua are going to be the ones that go in and not you. Because the reality is, folks, you got to have the right attitude. You got to have the persistency. You got to have the right environment in order to yield the right results. So I hope that this Family Finance Friday, with the emphasis on the right kind of professional networking at the right events and giving the people a win-win-win engagement, you've learned the steps to apply. We're not about motivation. We're about application. You understand what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? So if you want to put yourself in position for multi-generational wealth, you have to lay the proper foundation, and you have to do the work, and you have to apply it day in and day out. And I'll tell you this is what my man Denzel said in American Gangster. He said, you have to do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do. And you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable in environments that you got to be in where the big players are. That's the most important part about it, ladies and gentlemen. Always remember, quality over quantity, but never be afraid of the law of large numbers, where if you have to go through 500 qualified people just to get that one, you are 100% successful. Remember that. And always gauge your work, not necessarily your results, if you're doing the right work, and the results will add up eventually in your favor. So I hope that information, and again, we want to shout out to the Diaspora African Conference. It's an amazing conference, and you guys got to plug in. And we want to show you that we don't talk to talk, we do the talk. So Nick's going to show you a quick little video of a very new person that we have engaged through the work, code contact, and we put them in a position to win with us, and they in return gave us this amazing video to spread the word about our beautiful business executive residential resort, and things are just getting started. So I'm going to say a shout out to Lisa Shakespeare. Nick, let's roll that video. And as always, we wish you a pom-pom lifestyle. That's plenty of money and peace of mind. And we want you to come join us on the beaches of the World Club. Tonight's beach is professional networking done right to give you the net worth that your family deserves. On behalf of Nick Westbrooks, I'm DJ the Money Coach. You've been watching Family Finance Friday. And hey, we'll see you next time on the Beaches of the World Club. We appreciate you.
Have you heard of the Pom Pom Suites at the Soul in Zanzibar? If not, let me put you on. It's located inside a dreamy residential resort right in the heart of Paje, close to all the best shops and restaurants. I spent 5 days and 4 nights and the vibe was immaculate. The property is lush, tropical, and so peaceful. And the lagoon-style pool, OMG, absolutely obsessed. Definitely a highlight. I love that it wasn't too deep, so I felt comfortable swimming, cooling off, relaxing, and just living my best Zanzibar life. Some days I grabbed freshly made mango juice from the bakery, which has pastries, coffee, tea, and a variety of options for lunch. And can we talk about the super cute welcome center? I couldn't get enough of the tropical chic decor, literally the perfect spot to chill and unwind. The Pom Pom Suites have tons of room options too, from cozy studios to spacious apartments. I stayed in a 1-bedroom unit and it was giving all the modern, stylish, and hella comfortable vibes. But the real MVP, my personal chef. Every morning, I got freshly made breakfast, eggs, sausage, fresh fruit, and one night she made a barbecue feast. We're talking grilled goat, pilau rice, fresh salad, and homemade juice. Let's just say I ate good. So if you're looking for a beautiful, relaxing, and unique stay in Zanzibar, Pom Pom Suites at the Soul Paje is it. Let me know in the comments if you would like to stay here, and I'll DM you all the deets.
Join us on the Beaches of the World Club in our brand new resort in Zanzibar, Tanzania. That's right, 7 days, 6 nights, transportation, excursions, personal chef, and beautiful sunsets on the white sand beaches of Zanzibar for only $9.99 or 3 easy payments. So come join us on the Beaches of the World Club in paradise during Black History Month. Out everything. We're going to give you a master training, 3-hour course, 2 consultations. We're going to teach you how to build credit up to $100,000 interest-free for 18 months. Pay off your home in 7 to 10 years. And most importantly, create $8,333 a month in passive income. It's a $997 course. You get it all today for $97. Hit that link.